All right, another week of baseball. For some new challenges. 4 road games this week, so be a really good test for our team going on the road. We love going to Charleston and playing the Citadel in that great ballpark, and obviously the new experience going to Austin, Texas this weekend, I think will be a great challenge and a really good experience for our guys. So excited for this week.
All right. We'll start with Dave.
Hey, Mark, thanks for doing it. A quick one to start with. Who do you like pitching on Wednesday night, and is the rotation the same for the weekend?
Yeah, we'll go Seitler on Tuesday and same rotation for the weekend. I think it lined up really well last week against Winthrop, so we'll do a very similar situation this week.
And then also, this will be like the first big road trip of the year. So how does COVID play into it between going to Charleston Wednesday, coming back, and then I guess you guys will go out Thursday night for Austin?
Yeah, the plan right now is anytime we're on a bus for more than about 10 or 15 minutes, outside of just a quick ride from the hotel to the park, if it's close enough, we'll take 2 buses. We did that with Winthrop last week. So we'll drive to Charleston in 2 buses, and then we'll go to the airport in Charlotte. We actually leave Thursday morning for Austin so that we can practice in Austin on Thursday night. So we'll use there's a few things different, for road trips, just in terms of using multiple buses or, what type of freedom you give your guys once you're on the road. I mean, we're not going to lock them down and under lock and key. There's only so much you can do. But there are small adjustments we'll make. But again, we've learned so much from the other teams that have traveled, and I've already reached out to a lot of college coaches that are friends that that have played and had their team stay in hotels already this year through the different tournaments that have been. So we'll just continue to learn and try to manage it the best we can.
Colin?
Hey, Mark, 2 questions for you. Jeff, is the plan for Jeff to be back this week in any capacity?
He's still working through it. I actually asked our athletic trainer this morning, on a scale of 0% to 100%, where does he think he is? And sounds like he's in that 70% range in terms of full health. So we're gonna continue to monitor that. The last thing I want is to rush him back and that he's playing at 70% and fighting that the whole year. I really want to get him back to 100% so he can settle back in and be at the top of his game. I think we have the depth to allow us to do that. So when he's ready to go, he'll be ready to go. And whether it's tomorrow night, whether it's this weekend, whether it's the following week, we just want to have him at his best.
And you guys have had pretty much the same top 3 or 4 in the lineup outside of that 2-hole hitter. I think there's been 2 or 3 guys that have split time there. How do you envision that shaking out as the season goes on, or is that a place that might change from game to game based off matchups?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the matchups will always be the first thing we look at. How do our guys hit versus lefties and righties? How does our opponents, how do they pitch? And what type of success does that pitcher have versus lefties and righties? So sometimes that steers how you put your lineup together. Sometimes trends steer how you put your lineup together. If a guy's really hot, you hit him more towards the top of the lineup. If he's a little bit of a funk, you move him down. So every day, all our goal is to take all the information we have, look at the matchups, figure out who's hot, who's not, and then put the best lineup out there on that day that gives us the best chance to have success that day. And every day is different. So, at some point, will we have the same 9 guys? I mean, I don't know. We have more than 9 guys that are starting players. So I think it's in everybody's best interest to continue to try to put guys in spots that give them the best chance to do well.
Mike Uva next.
Hey, Mark, I mean, I know we're just 3 weeks into the season, but to be able to see how you guys have been able to win in a multitude of different ways, whether it's being able to score a lot of runs in some games or just the other day, just the pitching that you guys have had, obviously that experience will probably help you guys later on in the season, but especially for the young guys, how much can that help these guys out and just in terms of being able to get that experience early on in the season before you guys start to really, hit the middle of your schedule?
Mike, I'm going to be frank. I'm so distracted by that wall behind you that I didn't hear a word you just said. That is a lot of flexing going on that back wall right there. Holy cow.
No Dolphins either. So
and that's what's most disappointing. So 26, were you a running back or a defensive back?
I mean, I could say I was a running back. I mean, we weren't good until I left. So they started winning and now they have guys committing to USC. So
I saw that. All right. So all seriousness, all joking aside, ask me that question one more time, the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah, bottom line is you guys have been able to find a lot of ways to be able to win early on in the
Yeah.
year. And as a team, that can obviously help you later on in the year. But what we've seen is so many young guys be able to step up. How important do you think that can be for this team, especially for those younger guys to get that in-game experience of having to deal with different situations?
Yeah, I think it's really important. I think it's important for the short term, but also the long term. And here's what I mean. I think it's in the short term, it's important because young guys have been helping us win games. I mean, the Phippses and the Sanders and on and on. A lot of young guys have helped us win games, and that's really good for the short term. And I think it'll serve us well as this season goes on. But I think it's also good for the program because it shows recruits out there, hey, they'll play their freshmen. If you're ready to go, if you're good enough, they're not afraid to play freshmen and in big spots. I mean, Will Sanders is fresh out of high school, and he's pitching some of the biggest innings we've had this year. So I think it's a really good thing for the short term and the long term health of the program.
Go to Cam Gaskins.
Hey, Coach, it feels like it's been a while since we've seen the team have this much fun. You know, we've got the props on the field. We've got the funny words in the press conferences.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could just speak a little more to how vital that kind of energy is, especially for baseball and college baseball, and just what it's like as a manager coming into a locker room like that every day, knowing these guys are having more fun than they have in a long time.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's a chicken and the egg thing. Are they having a lot of fun because we're playing really well and we're good? Or are we playing really well because we're having a lot of fun? An argument could be made for both sides. But what I do know is we are a good team and they are having fun. And that tends to build a lot of momentum for a team. When you have a quality club and they enjoy being around each other and you allow them to have fun and enjoy the process, that seems to really build on itself. And you think of a lot of great teams in baseball at all levels, whether it's the big leagues, I know there's a lot of great stories back a decade ago when this team was winning national championships of, a lot of the antics they did and what kept them loose. And so I think it's really important. Especially in our game. Hitters fail 70% of the time and they're considered great. So the failure is a big part of our game and you have to learn how to handle that. And you have to be able to handle that. So if you're enjoying your teammates, if you're enjoying the process and having a good time at the game, it makes those low points a lot easier to deal with and to move on from.
And then I've got to just ask, what was your first reaction when you saw the scythe and the battle axe when those got brought into the dugout?
Well, my first thought was, what the heck is that? And then my second thought was, okay, it's not out of control. It's a little fun. It's brings back thoughts of the turnover chain that Miami does in football. And so again, I want our guys to have fun. I want them to enjoy this thing because it's part of it. And if you're having fun, I think we'll be better in the long run. So I'm not going to stand in the way of them having fun as long as it's within reason.
Go to Scott Eisberg next.
Hey, Mark, just wondering how important it is to, there's such a long storied history with playing the Citadel. How important is it for you to come down to Charleston, come down to the Joe and kind of keep, Ray and Fred Jordan had such a long, storied rivalry between them. How important was it to kind of keep this game alive and to continue to do so here at the Joe? Yeah,
I think it's really important. I very much appreciate the history of our program, the history of our state, the history of South Carolina and Citadel. Tony Skoll and I are good friends now for having been on the USA staff together. So there's no reason not to do it. We get to come, down to Charleston, and we have a lot of Gamecock fans there. We get to play in a pro park. So I love it. I think our fans love it. Our team loves it. So it's really important to me.
We'll go with Rick Henry next.
Hey, Mark, how you doing today?
Hey, Rick, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. A couple of things for you. What do you like most about this team? I mean, is there one area that has exceeded even your expectations? And also, we're closing in on the 1-year anniversary when the sports world shut down. Do you find yourself reflecting in some moments now about, wow, where we were and where we are now? And do you think you and the guys have a greater appreciation of just being able to have this moment now?
Yeah, number one, what I like most about this team is just that so far it's a complete team. It plays good defense. It hits well. It has power. We have some athleticism. Our pitching has been really good, both as starters and out of the bullpen. It's a mature team, and we have older guys that I can lean on for leadership within the locker room, that will echo, the things that I think are important. So what I like most about this team is it just checks all the boxes so far to this point. In terms of reflecting on everything we've been through, I try not to do that too much. We had so much time over the last year, especially the 9 months during, at the beginning of COVID, and when we had nothing to do but reflect on things and think about things. So I'm trying to just put all our focus into the current day process and what do we need to do to have success today and prepare our guys. But you can't help but think, man, a year ago we were getting ready to get this thing shut down. And now, we're getting to do what we love. The camaraderie is back. The success is back. You appreciate it all. There's no question you appreciate it. And you just want to make sure that you enjoy it as much as you can, because we saw last year how quickly something could be taken away.
Well, Mitch next then, Colin.
Coach, obviously, sorry, my mouth's a little numb.
You're right,
Going into Austin this weekend, obviously going to have some fans in the stands. How important is it to go into an environment like this early on in the season when you have, goals to be in these types of environments come later in the season?
Yeah, it's great. It's great preparation. That's a word we use all the time around here, is preparation. And so when we made the decision to take on this series, you had to decide, do you want to go on the road for this? Do you want to play a national power like a Texas? Is this a team that is ready for those things? And we discussed it as a staff, and we decided we thought we were. It'll be really good for the growth of this team and continued growth of our program. And so we decided to take it head on. And I think our team will do the same thing. Texas is a great team. It's a great program. They have many national championships on their walls as well. So I just think it'll be a lot of fun. I think we'll grow as a team. It's good to take a team on the road because you get a little bit more camaraderie, and there's just so many good things that can come of it. Obviously, we want to win the games, but whichever way the results go, we're going to get so much out of this weekend and continue to learn things about this team that I think will pay dividends down the road.
Colin?
Two questions. How impressed have you been with your team's vocabulary through the first 10 games and post-game press conferences?
I think our team's vocabulary has been exhilarating.
Wow. Okay.
That's the one word I'll give you for that. Exhilarating. Fascinating would be another word for you. I can't come up with any words as crazy as the ones they are coming up with to describe their vocabulary. So I'll just leave it at that.
And obviously pitching was expected to be a strength of this team going into the year with the depth and the guys you have. Obviously, they've been pretty good to start the season in a limited sample size. What's next for this pitching staff? How do you want to see it improve and continue to get better as you get into Texas and then SEC play?
I mean, I think, again, minimizing pitches, the things you want out of your starters is they can give you a 6. If they do that, then we consider that a great outing for our guys. For the most part, they've been able to do that, but early on their first couple starts, a couple of our starters didn't quite get to that 6th inning. That's our goal, and I want to continue for that to be their goal, to be a minimum. If they can give us 8 on 90 pitches, that's even better. But I want to continue to see our starters use 6 innings as a minimum goal, that they hand us a lead and let it go to our bullpen. And then from a bullpen standpoint, I just think we just need to continue to see consistency. These guys have been great, and they've done everything we've asked. So as we continue to figure out the roles to use guys, we just want to continue to see guys take advantage of their opportunities.
Phil?
Hey, Mark. Good morning.
Hey, Phil.
When you looked at the rankings this week, and you guys are ranked as high as number 5, and then you see 4 other SEC teams, depending which poll you looked at, ranked 1 through 4 in there, and you're playing all 4 of those guys down the road. Do you kind of take a deep gulp and think about, hey, how tough the SEC really is this year? Have you ever seen a league lined up like this one is this year at this stage?
It's big time baseball. It's what you sign up for. It's probably better than it's ever been just because of the draft and everything that's happened the last 12 months. Do you look far ahead? No, you don't do that just because it would take your attention off Citadel. And when we're done with Citadel, we'll put our attention towards Texas. So every now and then you glance at it and you say, man, that's a lot of fun baseball that we're going to play this year. A lot of great environments, a lot of big challenges. But you can't spend too much doing that because it takes your focus off today and today's challenge. So I think it's going to be a lot of tremendous baseball being played in our league. We're going to be a big part of it. And, we need to be careful of not taking our focus off what we need to do today.